A meeting with tribal leaders about plate pay, a settlement reached in mental health care for jail inmates, and misspent taxpayer money. This is the KGOU AM News Brief for Thursday, June 20th. I'm Logan Layden. The executive director of the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority met with tribal leaders this week to discuss the plate pay system. OPMX's Sarah Lisi has more.
Only 3 tribal nations have vehicle tag compacts with the state, so the plate pay system is an important piece to collecting tolls from motorists. OTA Executive Director Joe E. Kelly says that's why he's specifically bringing it up with tribal nation leaders with the United Indian Nations of Oklahoma, who met this week in Miami. E. Kelly says whether you have an Oklahoma or tribal license plate,
we try to look you up through any systems that we have, find out who the registered owner and their address is, and mail them an invoice. That's all we're trying to do.
Of course, anyone, tribal citizens included, can also buy a Pike Pass to make plate pay unnecessary. I'm Sarah Lisi.
Big changes are coming to the Oklahoma City Zoo and Botanical Garden. The zoo released a new master plan for updating and expanding habitats and public spaces. One priority is transforming reptile and amphibian habitats into indoor-outdoor preserves. Construction projects are set to take place over the next 10 years. The plan is expected to cost about $115 to $230 million. It will be funded through private and public sources. At least half a dozen small towns across Oklahoma rampantly misspent what little tax money they have so far this year. State Auditor and Inspector Cindy Bird says the problem is systemic and multifaceted, but avoidable. But as State Capitol reporter Lionel Ramos tells us, the damage is done.
What happens to that money? Does it just kind of disappear?
Well, the money has disappeared.
We're talking about money misappropriated or misspent by local towns across Oklahoma. That's about $2.1 million Bird's office has accounted for this year that has just poofed into, well, the pockets of city managers, board members, clerks, and independent contractors. Bird says problems are consistently related to poor leadership in tiny towns across the state, like Bremen, Wynnewood, and Pauls Valley.
I think this is a systemic issue across Oklahoma. I think board members come and go. It's very hard to get board members to even serve. I know a lot of municipalities aren't operating with all board positions filled.
And that, Bird says, leads to a lack of knowledgeable management, an eventual lack of oversight and misspending. In Oklahoma City, I'm Lionel Ramos.
And Oklahoma Attorney General Getner Drummond agreed to a proposed settlement Monday in a federal lawsuit against the Oklahoma Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. State Impact's Jillian Taylor reports the agreement is meant to improve the department's delivery of court-ordered mental health treatment to county jail inmates.
4 inmates found incompetent to stand trial alleged in a suit against the Department of Mental Health in 2023 that they were forced to wait to receive timely court-ordered mental health treatment while their cases were stayed. Now, Drummond, who represents the department, says they and other inmates will receive, quote, long-delayed justice. The proposed agreement would require the department, among other things, to develop and implement a screening program to expedite the placement of inmates into appropriate care and impose deadlines for delivering treatment that are associated with fines if they are not met. The federal court must approve the agreement's details, and the Oklahoma legislature will also have to approve it once it's finalized. For State Impact, I'm Jillian Taylor.
And for additional news throughout the day, visit our website, kgou.org, and follow us on social media.
I'm Rachel Martin. You probably know how interview podcasts with famous people usually go. There's a host, a guest, and a light Q&A. But on Wildcard, we have ripped up the typical script. It's a new podcast from NPR where I invite actors, artists, and comedians to play a game using a special deck of cards to talk about some of life's biggest questions. Listen to Wildcard wherever you get your podcasts, only from NPR.